I'm Patsy, 34 years old, the youngest daughter in a family where quiet people learn early how to disappear, married into a world of polished glass offices, private dinners, and men who speak softly while deciding other people's fates. I work, I listen, I observe, but compared to my confident husband and my accomplished siblings, I've always been treated like the afterthought, the harmless one, the wife who smiles and doesn't ask questions. I learned to live with that role, even convinced myself it was safer, though deep down I've always felt like an outsider in my own life, watching it happen from the edges. What no one ever noticed, what my husband never bothered to ask, was what I'd been learning in silence, what I understood when he thought I couldn't, and how close I already was to the truth he was hiding. The night he invited me to that dinner, the night he spoke freely in Japanese and said my name like I wasn't human, was the moment everything cracked open. And by the time he realized I understood every word, it was already far too late.
Click.
The sound of the door locking for me inside. Not ours. Upstairs. Then, silence. Too quiet for a house this size. I pressed my back to the cold marble counter in the kitchen. My fingers hovered over the screen of my phone, pretending to scroll, pretending I didn't just hear what I heard. Graham's voice.
Low.
Sharp.
Precise.
Speaking Japanese with a crisp, practiced accent I didn't know he had. It's handled. She won't ask questions. She never has. I held my breath. He laughed softly after that. A businessman's laugh. Controlled. The kind that says I'm not worried because I'm in control. I slipped out of the kitchen, feet silent against the hardwood, tracking his voice. The glow from his office spilled under the door like a slit of danger. I stopped. Waited. The signature's already in. She's a ghost on paper now. My name. He didn't say it, but I knew.
She.
That's what I was to him when the door was closed. A placeholder.
A signature.
A liability to be managed. He ended the call. I waited 5 full seconds. Then I moved. Back in the kitchen, I poured myself a glass of wine I wouldn't drink. My hands shook. Not from shock. Not anymore. From calculation. I'd known something was off. For months. The sudden changes in Graham's schedule. The phone always face down. The password that changed. The secure storage app on his laptop.
Trust eyes slowly.
But suspicion spreads like blood in water. I walked upstairs after 20 minutes. Casual. Like nothing cracked. Graham was already in bed. Phone face up again. Smile perfect. Hands behind his head. Long day, he said. I nodded. You looked focused down there. He didn't flinch. Just work. Liar. The next morning, I waited until he left for work. Then I opened the hidden drawer in his desk. The one he thought was still jammed. Inside, 3 folders. One marked, Hibiki Holdings, Personal. Inside that one page.
A signature. Mine.
Except I never signed it. Below it, a copy of our joint property authorization agreement, dated 2 weeks ago. But I'd never seen it. And I know every document I've ever initialed. Underneath that, a contract with Hibiki Holdings LLC outlining real estate repositioning plans for a multi-million-dollar property. But the property wasn't his. It was ours.
And now?
It was theirs. You can bury a body in paperwork and no one notices until it stinks, my father used to say. I thought he was being poetic. Turns out he was just being accurate. I scanned everything. Uploaded the files to a secure folder under a fake name I'd created months ago. I didn't know what I was waiting for back then. But now I did. I checked the time. Graham's next meeting was at 1 p.m., which meant his phone would be silent for at least 20 minutes. Long enough to trigger a forward command from his office server. Long enough for me to clone the email.
Click. Done.
I closed the laptop. My hands were still shaking, but it wasn't fear now. It was adrenaline. That night, he came home with a bottle of wine and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. We're going to Hishiri next Thursday, he said. It's a dinner with Takahashi-san. You'll come. I looked up. Why? He raised a brow. Optics. Japanese clients value appearances. Family. Stability.
A beat.
Then dismissive. Just wear something elegant.
Quiet.
Smile a lot. I smiled back. My mouth said yes. But my mind whispered, I'll be the quiet one. Until I'm not. He thinks I'm clueless. That's going to be his first mistake. Hashiri didn't look like a restaurant. It looked like a vault. White stone. Black glass. Silence. The hostess barely glanced at me before taking my coat. Graham didn't even notice I'd worn the red dress he once called too bold. He was already on his phone, voice low, eyes scanning emails like the world might burn if he looked up. Act like an asset, he murmured without looking at me, not a liability. My smile was thin. The private room smelled like cedar smoke and perfection. A long table, 3 settings, centered ikebana arrangement. Nothing accidental. Mr. Takahashi sat at the far end.
Tall.
Trim. A face carved from calm. His gaze flicked to me once, evaluating, not greeting. Like I was furniture that had moved. Mrs. Saito, he said, mispronouncing my married name slightly. I bowed, politely.
No querexchen.
Just enough fluency to not offend. Not enough to reveal. Graham stepped in, voice slick with charm. Patsy's thrilled to meet you.
She's
a great supporter of my work. Supporter. Like I ran a fan club. Dinner began in structured silence. Course after course like ceremonial offerings. Blowtorched wagyu. Sashimi sculpted like glass. And, between bites, soft conversation in Japanese. Graham's was formal, a bit rehearsed, but passable. I caught every word. She's elegant, but not involved, he said, smiling tightly at Mr. Takahashi.
Pause.
Sip of sake. Then the slip. She's pretty, but empty-headed. Keeps the seat warm. Nothing else. The words slithered into the air like poison gas. Mr. Takahashi nodded politely. I didn't flinch.
Not yet.
Miyuki, the interpreter seated beside Takahashi, flicked her gaze to me. A flicker of suspicion. Recognition. Her chopsticks paused in midair. I raised my own sake cup. Sipped. Inside, my chest pounded. Not because of the insult. That I expected. But because of the timing. Graham was saying it now. Here.
Boldly.
Because he thought he'd already won. You know, I said, setting my cup down, the seat is actually quite comfortable. In Japanese. Graham froze. I kept going, casually like we were discussing the weather. And for someone empty-headed, I do understand a lot about asset transfers and forged signatures. Miyuki stiffened. Mr. Takahashi blinked. 1 beat too long. Graham's face went bloodless. His lips parted, then closed. No one moved. Silence can be the loudest kind of scream. I leaned in just slightly, still speaking in fluent, soft Japanese. I'd be careful what you say in front of your wife next time. Especially one with a background in linguistics. Patsy, Graham said finally in English. Voice clipped. Can I speak with you outside? I tilted my head. There's nothing outside we can't discuss right here. Another beat. Takahashi cleared his throat. Perhaps a moment of privacy. No need, I said, still smiling. I'm done pretending. You don't understand what you're doing, Graham hissed, quiet but sharp. You're embarrassing yourself. Funny, I said. That's exactly what you just did. But in a language you thought I couldn't understand. He looked like he wanted to crush the wine glass in his hand. Instead, he stood. Now, he said. Outside. Now. I stood too. Every eye in the room followed me. Even the server in the corner froze like part of the decor. The door hissed closed behind us. Graham spun on me before it even latched. What the hell did you just do? There it was. The mask was gone. You're not mad I embarrassed you, I said. You're mad because now I know. Know what? He snapped. That you're not just hiding business from me. You're hiding me from your business. And I want to know why. His jaw tightened. I took a step forward. Because I saw the contract. The one with my forged signature. The one transferring our joint property. You know, the one I didn't sign. He didn't deny it. That was worse than lying. People like you, I said, voice low, assume silence means submission. But silence is just a choice. And I'm done choosing it. His eyes narrowed. You don't know what you're stepping into. Then explain it to me. Right now. Graham stepped back.
Pulled out his phone. Tapped something.
My phone buzzed. I looked down. A message. No sender ID. We know what you heard. Stop now, or the next dinner will be your last. I looked up. Graham wasn't looking at me anymore. He was staring past me. The screen of my phone lit up again. It was a live feed. Of our bedroom. And I wasn't in it. The bedroom feed flickered once. Then froze. Static. I lowered the phone, pulse hammering in my throat. The silence between me and Graham stretched, heavy and shifting. You're watching me? I said, my voice sharp, colder than I intended. In our bedroom? No, he said too quickly. That's not mine. He was lying. I stepped back. My heel hit the concrete wall of the alley behind Hashiri. A waiter stepped out for a smoke 2 doors down, didn't look at us. The world kept spinning like nothing had cracked open. But it had. You don't get to lie anymore, I said. I know what I saw. You signed over property with my name, and now this? Surveillance footage of my bedroom? It's not what you think. Then explain it. Nothing. Just breath. I moved faster than he expected. Snatched his phone. He grabbed for it, but I twisted away. Password screen. Biometrics? I asked, holding it toward his face.
His jaw locked.
You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking for the first time in years. I angled the screen. It unlocked. For missed calls. 1 labeled NO name. 2 encrypted apps. 1 camera app, still active. 1 icon blinking red. I tapped it. The feed opened.
Live.
Our bedroom. Same angle.
But now?
There was movement. Someone was standing by the closet. A woman. She turned slightly. Long black coat.
Gloves.
A face half covered by a surgical mask. I hit record. Graham yanked the phone away. But I had already emailed the clip to myself. Who is she? I demanded. Graham didn't answer. Just stared at the phone like it had betrayed him. The camera's hidden in the vent, I said. That's how you got that angle. You don't understand.
No.
You don't. You think being underestimated is the same thing as being weak. He looked like he wanted to scream. Or run. Instead, he straightened his suit. There are people involved in this you don't want to cross. That woman in my house. Is she one of them? You're making this worse for yourself. You already did that for me. We didn't speak as we walked to the car. Inside, the silence was thick, electric. I stared straight ahead. He started the engine. Halfway back to the house, I spoke. If anything happens to me, I've left copies of everything with a lawyer. It was a lie, but a convincing one. You really think this is the smartest move? He asked, voice even. I think silence was the biggest mistake I ever made.
Cutscene.
We pulled into the garage. The house was dark. Too dark. No porch light. No hallway light. Just shadows. My hand paused over the keypad. The security system was off. I hadn't turned it off. Neither had he. I opened the door slowly. The air inside felt wrong. Too still. Like someone had paused the world. I stepped in first. Something crunched under my heel.
Glass.
A picture frame. From our wedding. Face down. I didn't speak. In the kitchen, a chair had been moved. A drawer open. Nothing stolen. Nothing obvious. Too clean. Too careful. Someone's been here, I whispered. He didn't answer. We moved room to room. Closet. Bathroom.
Study.
The office drawer, the one I'd opened before, was empty.
Files gone.
Even the pen was missing. I turned to Graham.
His face said nothing.
But his silence said everything. You already moved them. He shook his head. I told you I don't. The hallway light snapped on. We both turned. The motion sensor. But neither of us had moved. Something shifted in the hallway. Just out of view. A shadow. I didn't wait. I grabbed the heavy vase by the door and stepped forward.
Fast.
Sharp. The way fear makes you. But the hallway? Empty. No one. The door at the far end creaked. I ran. But when I opened it, nothing. Just the wind through the open bathroom window. And a single red envelope on the counter. My name, typed in clean font. Inside, a flash drive. And one line on the folded paper. You're not safe. But neither is he. I turned around. Graham was gone. The front door was still swinging open. I didn't call the police. I didn't even call a friend. I grabbed the flash drive, changed my shoes, and walked out the door before the adrenaline wore off. I didn't know where Graham had gone. I just knew I needed to get to someone who understood what final clearance meant. Lucas Harlan owed me. And I never forget debts.
Cutscene.
I pulled up outside his apartment in Redwood City. A slab of postmodern concrete with parking that smelled like gasoline and mold. The buzzer didn't work. I hit it 3 times. No answer. I banged on the glass. He opened the door 2 minutes later. Sleep shirt. Bare feet.
Pale.
Eyes narrowed. You look like hell, he said. Give me 10 minutes. I'll look worse.
Cut.
Lucas's apartment was wired like a bunker. Multiple monitors. Servers humming. An unopened bottle of scotch on the shelf beside a stack of Japanese manga. He pulled the flash drive from my hand like it was radioactive. Where did you get this? From someone who used to share my bed. He slid it in without another word. The screen lit up. Folders. Password protected. Lucas frowned.
Typed.
Hacked. 30 seconds later, we were in. What came up wasn't a contract. It was a shell company chart. Hibiki Holdings Black Marlin Group TM Financial. Each line connected to dates, names, emails. Most blacked out. One wasn't. Delilah Whitlock. I sat down. You know her? He asked. My sister. Lucas turned to me. She's not just linked. She's at the center. I blinked once.
Twice.
Delilah had always been the perfect one. Law firm partner. Sunday brunch star. Passive-aggressive champion of the year. But laundering funds? You're saying she's the architect? I asked. She's the owner of the third-tier company. Black Marlin is the laundering arm. Delilah moved millions from Japanese clients under the Hibiki merger. And Graham? His name is nowhere, which means he's the puppet. My breath caught. I had been chasing the wrong enemy. I always thought the worst kind of betrayal was silence, I said. Turns out it's strategy. Lucas kept typing. Then froze. His monitors flickered. All of them. Pop, pop static. The cursor vanished. You're being tracked, he said, standing up.
No.
You are. The lights died. Silence. Then, crack. Glass shattering. Somewhere near the kitchen. Lucas reached into a drawer.
Pulled a compact taser.
Go out the back, he said. Not without the data. He handed me a second drive. Encrypted. Copy of everything. Password's your middle name. I moved fast.
Kitchen.
Fire escape. Rain falling sideways. I didn't look down. Just kept going. By the time I hit the alley, my breath was ragged. Cold air slicing my throat. Another sound. Behind me. Footsteps. Not running. Just following. I turned a corner too fast, slipped, skidded, caught myself. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Should have stopped at dinner, Patsy. I didn't reply. Kept moving. Lucas's building was already shrinking behind me. Police sirens, 1 street over. I ducked into a 24-hour diner. Bathroom stall.
Locked.
I opened the drive. Transferred everything to a hidden cloud backup. I didn't have time to cry. Or shake. Or plan. All I had was momentum. I wiped the drive. Broke it in half. Flushed one piece. Kept the other. Then I left the stall.
Cutscene.
Diner lights flickering. I ordered coffee. Black. Sat by the window. A woman walked past the glass. Slowed. Looked in. Same coat. Same mask. Same woman from the live feed. She didn't stop, just smiled, and kept walking. The woman in the mask didn't stop, didn't even flinch when our eyes met through the window. She walked past as if it wasn't me she'd watched sleeping, undressing, breathing, as if she hadn't just stood inside my house. I counted to 3, then followed.
Cut scene.
Street noise. A bus wheezing by. The hum of neon above. I turned the corner fast.
Gone.
No sign of her, but a piece of paper fluttered at my feet, damp from the rain. Folded twice. My name typed at the center. Inside, one line. You were never the target, but now you're a problem. Back at the motel, I kept the lights off. Showered in the dark. Dressed in silence. I sent the cloud folder link to 3 burner emails I'd created months ago. One to myself. One to a friend who owed me. One to a name I hadn't spoken aloud in 6 years. Miyuki Saito. She replied in 10 minutes. Meet me. Tsukinoma Tea House. 30 minutes. Come alone.
Cut scene.
Tsukinoma glowed like a lantern in the fog. All warm wood and quiet elegance. A place built for secrets. Miyuki sat in a corner booth, back to the wall. Her hair down.
No mask.
Green tea, she asked. I'll take answers.
She poured.
Then spoke. You were never supposed to know. Graham wasn't even supposed to know. You've been watching me. I was assigned to observe.
Contain.
He escalated things. And Delilah? A flicker. The only break in her perfect mask. She's the one who brought in Hibiki Holdings. Black Marlin was her idea. She's laundering money through shell firms. Global accounts. Japan was the first client, not the only one. I leaned forward. You're saying my sister's the architect. Miyuki nodded once. Graham is the presenter. The face. She's the engine. And she's ruthless. I swallowed hard. She used my name, my marriage, my house. She used everything, Miyuki said, except your silence. That's the part she underestimated. There was a pause. Then she slid a burner phone across the table. On this, a name. FBI. Financial Crimes Unit. He's been building a case from the inside. I stared at the phone. Miyuki sipped her tea. You only get one chance to burn someone like Delilah. You better light the right match. I stood. Where are you going? She asked. To make noise.
Cut scene.
I stepped out into the fog. Across the street, a black town car idled. Graham. He rolled down the window. You really don't know when to quit. He held a folder in his lap. Final clearance, PSY_asset 3. My code name. Like I was property. And expendable. He stepped out. You have no idea how high this goes, he said. I don't need to know. I just need it to fall. His smile was thin. You're going to get people killed. Starting with which one of you? Another car pulled up. Black SUV. Windows tinted. I turned. Reached into my bag. Pulled the phone Miyuki gave me. Dialed. It rang twice. Then, Agent Cortez, the voice answered. I think you're going to want to hear this, I said. Behind me, Graham's voice dropped low. She knows too much, he said into his earpiece. It's time. Fog rolled off the top of the tower like breath in the cold. Graham was already there, back to me, facing the city. Red lights blinked along the rooftop edge. Wind whipped his coat. For a moment, he looked like he might step off and vanish. I stepped forward. He didn't turn. I thought you'd run, he said. I laughed. I thought you were smarter. He turned slowly.
Calm. Cold.
A predator with nowhere left to hide. You leaked it all. Yes. You called Cortez. I did. A pause. Then he reached into his coat and dropped the flash drive over the edge. Too late. You can erase a file, I said. Not a truth. He smiled. You think the FBI cares about your truth? You think Delilah's going to prison? You don't understand the rules of this world. I do now. He stepped closer. You used to be quiet, Patsy. You were perfect that way. You mistake quiet for weak. Most men do. Another step. We were toe to toe. He grabbed my wrist. I didn't flinch. You're not walking away from this. Neither are you. I shoved him back. He didn't expect it. He stumbled, regained balance, then lunged. We crashed into the railing. Metal screamed. My elbow hit his jaw. He staggered. I backed off, breath fast. Blood in my mouth. I didn't care.
Cut scene.
Behind me, the stairwell door banged open. Delilah. Black coat.
Heels too sharp. Gun in her hand.
Graham turned. Delilah.
She didn't hesitate.
The shot cracked once. Sharp.
Clean.
Graham dropped.
Just like that. Here.
You killed him. She raised the gun again. At me. He talked too much. I didn't move. So do I. She didn't smile. You're not worth the bullet, she said. But you've seen too much. Another shot fired. But not from her. Miyuki stepped from the shadows, holding a sleek black pistol. Delilah spun, but too slow. Miyuki hit her in the shoulder. Delilah crumpled, screaming, dropped the gun. I picked it up,
Pointed it back.
Miyuki didn't flinch. Sirens screamed in the distance. Helicopter blades. Flashlights sweeping buildings. It was over.
Cut scene.
They cuffed Delilah at sunrise. Graham's body was zipped into a black bag, rain spattering the vinyl. I watched from the steps, blanket around my shoulders. Cortez stood next to me, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. You didn't have to go this far, he said. Yes, I did.
Why?
Because for once, someone like me got tired of watching the world lie and win. He nodded slowly. You'll need protection. I'll need a life. He didn't argue.
Cut scene.
1 week later, I stood in the center of a bare apartment in San Francisco. No furniture yet. Just light. Just space. The windows stretched floor to ceiling.
No blinds.
I didn't need to hide anymore. The burner phone buzzed once. A message from Miyuki. They'll be watching. So will I. I smiled.
Some women are made to be watched. Some are made to be feared.
I walked to the window, looked out at the city that almost swallowed me whole, and whispered to my reflection, You should have known. I've been listening the whole time.